Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I'd like to do a direct comparison sort of video. Right here, these are, in my opinion, some of the very best knives you can buy for around $40 in the US right now in November. God, it's November already of 2017. And each one of these knives pairs has strengths and weaknesses. But first, we'll start off by introducing the cast. Right here are the Ontario Knife Company Rat number 1 and Rat number 2. Right here is the ESEE Zancudo and Avispa. Right here are the Steel Will Cutjack line in D2 steel. This is the 3-inch model and the 3.5-inch model. Then right here are the Kershaw Dividend and the Kershaw Link. All of these knives have very strong, have strengths and weaknesses, and, each one has reasons to recommend it. We'll start off with the Rats. In many ways, the Rats have been the one to beat. These are probably one of the very best values in the knife-making world these days, particularly this one, the Rat 1 in D2 steel. It's got a lot going for it. It's a very nice, big, ergonomic knife. It fits well in the pocket. It carries nicely. D2 steel is absolutely good to go. And there's just a bunch to love about the Rat lineup. There is a bunch not to love as well. The Rat 2 here is available only in AUS 8 steel right now, which is terrible. I'm sorry, Ontario, come on. Every other competition piece can do better than that. Why are you not? And they've been dragging their heels on it forever. They said at Blade Show that, oh yeah, it's coming shortly, but it hasn't come yet. And the moment it does, this pair is even more incredible. But look, the Rats are very good to go. Next is this pair from ESEE here. Unfortunately, for me at least, these are the most disappointing knives on the table here. They're not bad knives. They work okay. But build quality issues, for instance, blade play on this particular guy, and just overall, the frame lock design here, using a steel-based frame lock, is just not as pleasant at this price point. Steel frame locks don't tend to work well, and as a result, these two don't tend to work that well either. They do have excellent blades in D2 steel, and frankly, if I could get these two knives with these two blades, that is, on these two knives, I would be a happy man. I think that this blade is better than these blades, but, whatever. So I don't really recommend the ESEE pairing here, so we can kind of take those out of contention. Next to the Steel Will pair here. These are very compelling knives, because these guys are unassisted flippers. What that means is that although they flip out, they use Carson Flipper here. Come on, fire out there. These are completely unassisted, and so there's not a spring in here. It doesn't pop back down or anything like that. And so that makes these both legal in a bunch more places, and frankly, a lot easier to use and a lot more pleasant to use one-handed. I like these knives very much, and I think they're absolutely good to go. They do have an Achilles heel, though, and this is kind of the case with pretty much any flipper knife, but more so with the Cutjacks than usual. That's the fact that as you have these in your pocket, they have these nice big flipper tabs, pocket peckers basically, sticking out the back of them, pecking on whatever else is in your pocket. That's not great, and that means that these are a little less pleasant to carry than the Rats, just because of that. But the thing is, in D2 steel, which is absolutely a great steel, and for the price that they're running, again, in that 35 to 40 range, these are pretty excellent, and they're a very nice choice. Then finally, we have Kershaw's entry in this bin, and these are actually two very different models. Right here, this is the Kershaw Dividend. This is the plastic version. And then over here, we have the Kershaw Link, and this is another, but this is the metal version. They've got a plastic as well. The thing is, the Dividend and the Link are different than the Steel Wills in that these are assisted knives. What that means is that if I just put a little tiny bit of pressure on this flipper tab here, there's a spring in there that will fire and make it open the rest of the way. I'm not even putting any pressure on this, and it's still pressing back against me. What this means is that no matter what, this will always deploy, and it's just as quick in many ways as an automatic knife sort of thing, but it does make them a little bit more awkward to open and close one-handed. Both of these have very nice assists, but yeah, there you go. The problem with these two guys here is that Kershaw is not yet using great steels in them. These are both using, I believe, 8CR13 MOV, or at least they're using some other budget variety of steel, and I gotta say, I'm not super impressed with them. In both cases, you're sharpening these guys a lot more often than you would be doing D2, and although they're going to be a little bit more stainless as a result, the steels aren't super impressive. And so although you're paying the same price, here you're gaining the assist, which is maybe a good thing for some people, but at least for me, it's not a great thing. But you're also losing some quality in steel. And so ultimately, although I like these guys a lot, and the Dividend particularly is a shining gem, particularly because of the thinness of the blade stock. I mean, comparing it right here against the Cutjack and then against even the Rat 1 here, the stock is very thin, and it comes to a very acute edge, which means this is going to cut, I think, better than anything else on this table. Maybe the Rat 2 accepted. These are not necessarily where I send people first go. If you're okay with the assist, they're solid. And particularly if you want to buy some of the higher-end steel models that come out every so often, they're absolutely fine. They also, it's worth noting, both of them have this little kind of angle here to make this pocket pecker a little bit less of a problem. So that's a nice thing. But anyways, ultimately where it comes down to, like this in any other part of your knife buying life, is the preference. For people who want a thumb stud knife, then the Rat 1 and the Rat 2 are the options. I mean, these guys exist, but I don't think you should go that route. The Rat 1 has the better steel, the Rat 2 has the better size, at least for my personal life, and the moment this drops in D2 steel, oh my god, is this going to be great. But if you like the thumb stud approach, then these are very, very excellent knives. They are also, however, very, very thick. And they're the thickest knives on the table, and that's something you're going to want to keep in mind. They're not necessarily as pocketable. The Cutjacks are really, really impressive, and they're very, very... The action on these guys is in line with something you see from a lot of higher-end pieces, and so I like these guys a lot, and particularly with this finger choil, ergonomically speaking, I think the Cutjacks are the most ergonomic knives that are on the table right now. And so they've got a lot of benefits there. But ultimately, some people don't like flipper knives. That's a simple fact, and, there are trade-offs, certainly. But I like these guys very, very much. And then finally, these two. The big question is if you like the assist. If you like the assist, and if you want the assist specifically, well, these are kind of the game in town, at least of the knives I really love. If you don't like the assist, then rule these guys out. And also, how much wear resistance do you really need in your steel? Do you need to hold an edge forever and ever? If so, you might want to take these guys off the table or pay much more money for an increased steel, for a better steel version, and stick over to here. But no matter what you're buying on this table, I don't think you're doing wrong. You're just showing different preferences, and everybody's allowed to have different preferences. For me, if I could only keep one of these guys, if this were in D2, that would be the option. Otherwise, I think it's probably going to be the mini Cutjack here. This is a really, really excellent little knife. I don't mind the pocket pecker as much on the small one, and the action is just very, very, very good here. Ergonomically, there's a lot to love about this mini Cutjack, but ultimately, what it comes down to is your preference and size and otherwise. So there you go. I hope this has been interesting, that I wasn't rambling too much, and that you've got a better sense of what are some of your best options down here in this $35 to $40 price range. Have yourselves a good one. Bye now.